This IANA organization is responsible for maintaining the IP addresses all over the world. Okay, so what these guys do is they started first numbering the computers with numbers, and they call that as Internet Protocol. Okay, and they went to till 256 numbers, and they thought, okay, we have to extend more. Computers are becoming more and more. They introduced another version of their protocol called IPv2. We call it as IP version 1 and version 2. Under version 2, they started naming the computers as 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, like that. They went till 255.255. Okay, again they started. Again they observed even the IPv2 version is even fulfilling, so they want to expand more IP addresses. Okay, and they came up with a new version, IP version 3. In IP version 3, they started naming the computers like 0.0.0, 0.0.1, 0.0.2, like that. They went till 255.255.255. Even they observed even this is also fulfilling. They come up with new version called IPv4 version 4. In India right now we are into IP version 4. Okay, so that's the reason when you observe the IP addresses of your computer, okay, you will find four dots between each and every numbers. Okay, this is what the entire range of IPv4. It means that the IPv4 range starts from 0.0.0.0. Okay, the second IP would be 0.0.0.1, 0.0.0.2, like that. 0.0.1.0, again 1.1, 1.2, like that. 0.0. Again 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, like that. They went for 255.255.255.255. Okay, on this entire range, the maximum number of IP addresses you can provide is, you can see IPv4. This is what the value. This many computers can be connected with each other under IPv4 version. Okay, it's something like thousands, lakhs, billions, crores, 42 crores, 94 lakhs, 96,000. It's not even crores, it's more than crores. Okay, now this is what that IPv4 version of protocol maintained by IANA organization. Okay, now on this entire region, sorry, on this entire value. Okay, again this IANA has divided it into five sub ranges. Okay, IANA has divided this entire piece of range into five sub ranges, and they named those sub ranges as classes. Okay, and they named those five sub ranges as classes, and they called the classes as class A, class B, C, D, E. Okay, so what is that IPv4 entire range? This is what 2 255 dot 255 dot 255 dot 255, right? So the first IP address to the class A, they divided it into 127.255. 255.255. They are calling this first piece of chunk out of this entire range. Okay, out of this entire range, the first piece of chunk they are calling it as class A, and this followed the IP of this next is 128.0.0.0 to 172.255.255.255. Sorry, it's 191. Next 192.0.0.02 223.255.255. So this is how they divided the entire range into different classes. Here you can see the ranges values. Okay, class A starts from 0.0.0 to 127.255.255, and this is class B, a class C, and class D. Okay, and class E also there. Now, out of these 5 classes, the IANA organization has given the last 2 classes. Okay, the last 2 classes ranges IP addresses for military and other is for research and development. Okay, that's the reason when military people wants to communicate with each other, their computers, their whatever the VoIP phones will have the IP addresses from class D range and class E range. And research people, scientifics usually, scientifics you'll find in the research labs, right? The scientists or what they'll do, they'll have a different range of communication out of this entire network range. So for us, people like us, the software industries or whoever it is, we can use these 3 classes for assigning a unique IP address for our computers. Okay, any doubts on this topic, guys?
Karthik.
It's simple. You'll have entire IPv4 range starting from 0.0.0.0 to 255.255.255.255. What this IANA did, they divided it into 5 classes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they're class A, class B, class C, class D, and class C. And they have provided the last 2 classes for military and research, so we cannot use this, right? And the remaining 3 classes, okay, they have given it for us where we can use. And this class ranges are, this is what starts from 0 to 127, 128 to 191, and 192 to 223, 224 to 239. Next class E is 240 to 255. So we can use 0.0.0 to 223.255.255.254, this last value. Okay, from here to here we cannot use D and E. Now let me write the ranges here for better understanding. Guys, it's like you have to by heart these ranges. It's compulsory and it is mandatory. Okay, if you want to learn this, you have to by heart these ranges. Here you can see the class A range is, this is what, class B range is, this is what, and the class C range. Okay, out of these 3 classes, again, I know what they did is each and every class, on each and every class range, let us say, let us take an example of class A range. Okay, on this class A range, again they divided this entire range into 2 pieces. Okay, let me take class A range. I'll take this as class A. The range is 0.0.0.0 to 127.255.255. 255.255. So out of this entire class range, they took a small chunk of range. Okay, that chunk of range is 10.0.0.02, 10.255.255.255, and they call this range as private range of class A. Okay, and they're calling this range as private range of class A. And whatever the remaining this range 0.0.0.02 till 9.255.255.255, and whatever the after this range 11.0.0.02 127, they are calling this as.
Karthik, we lost your screen.
Yes.
We lost your screen.
Okay, now you can see me. Okay.
Yeah, now I can.
Yeah, so whatever the remaining ranges of this entire class chunk. Okay, the 0.0.02, 9.255.255, and 11.0.0.02, 127.250. They are calling it as public range of class A. This is also public range of class A. So it is like on each and every class range, IANA divided it into two types. One is public range and the other is private range. Okay. Now for similarly for class B, they took a range of, this is what, 172.16.0.02, 172.31, 255.255. For class C, 192, 168.0.02, 192, 168, 255.255. This is all the private ranges of class A, class B, and class C. And whatever the leftovers are public ranges of class A, class B, and class C. Okay. So any doubts on this topic, guys? I'll tell you why they divided like this and everything. I want everyone to be very clear on this topic. Okay. If you're not going to understand the first service of AWS. So we'll be dealing with VPC, Virtual Private Cloud Service of AWS. Okay. So what we usually do in order to build a data center, first what we set up networking, right? We set up firewalls, we set up routers, and then we'll add systems or servers on that firewall or LAN. Okay. This is for setting up the network. It means that for creating a LAN, local area network, okay, in local area network where computers can communicate with each other. For creating a LAN, you should know about these IP addresses, IP classes, IP ranges. So if you have any doubts, please interrupt me and ask me in the middle. Is everyone clear, or should I repeat it myself once again?
It's clear, Karthik, you can proceed.
Yeah, Adhika, I know you're from IT background. You'll understand this. I'm concerned about the other guys. Varma, is that clear for you? Yes. What about you, Pranita? Is that clear?
Yes, yes, it's clear.
Okay. I'm once again repeating myself. Okay. It's simple. It, listen this like a small story. Okay. There is a organization called IANA. These guys, what they did, they are the responsible for maintaining all the IP addresses. Okay. They designed four IP addresses versions: IP address version 1, version 2, version 3, and version 4. Okay, and we are talking about IP address version 4. Why? Because in India we are using version 4. That's the reason I am talking about version 4. Okay, when I talk about IP version 4, the entire range of IP version 4 is 0.0.0.02 255 dot 255 dot 255 dot 255. Okay, this is the entire range of IP version 4. On this entire range, this IANA divided this entire range into 5 classes. Okay, and they named it as class A, B, C, D, E. Okay, those ranges you can find from this picture. Okay, now again on each and every classes, they divided into two small ranges. They are calling one range as private range and they are calling other range as public range. Okay, and this last two classes cannot be used by us because they have given one for military, one for research and development, so we cannot use this. Only the ranges, only the classes of IP addresses we can use is class A, class B and class C. Why they divided this private and public ranges is, now I hope everybody knows about this LAN and WAN, right? LAN stands for local area network. WAN stands for wide area network. Now, assume that I am a layman, I don't know anything. I want to design some company. I want to start up a company. The first thing what I do is I rent place, right? I rent my office, okay? The place where all my employees works, okay? Second, I'll recruit human resources, okay? Third, I'll purchase all the networking devices and I'll provide those networking devices to the human resources so that they start creating the LAN. LAN is nothing but on my on-premises office. So whenever I connect some computer to my LAN, so that that computer can make a communication with other computer. Okay. The purpose of local area network is, okay, to communicate whatever all the computers that you connect to that LAN. Okay, this is called LAN. This is my office and this is called LAN. Now, out of my office, okay, out of my office, everything is WAN. It means the internet. Okay, this is what my boundary line for my office. Okay, on the boundary line only, on this LAN only, I am having all my computers or servers or whatever it is, laptops or mobile phones, whatever it is. So they're separated with WAN. WAN is nothing but outside of my office or outside of my LAN, everything is WAN, wide area network. Okay, or you can call it as internet to me or to my office or to my employees who is working on my LAN. Now, what is the device that is separating this LAN from WAN is gateway. Gateway is the device that separates LAN from WAN. Alright. It is a device that separates LAN from WAN. Okay. Now we'll talk about a small story. You'll have your home, right? For your homes, you'll have a corridor. I mean, like an what we call that wall around your home. Okay, so that compound wall of your home separates your home from all over the world, right? So how do you enter in and out? People enter in and out of your home just through that gate that you had attached to your compound wall, right? Okay, similarly, assume that this is your compound wall of your office. Okay, this is the gate you had. So from here on the gateway, people come and go. Similarly, here the traffic in sense the internet connections or bandwidth, whatever the traffic, network traffic, that will have inbound and outbound rules. My intention of saying this is every gateway will have inbound and outbound traffic. Okay, what are all the requests that is coming from WAN to your LAN or you inbound traffic for your gateway or for your LAN. Whatever the request that is coming from your LAN to WAN, okay, is outbound traffic for your gateway. Are you getting me, guys? So, in order to build a LAN, okay, in order to build this LAN, we have to select some IP range. Okay, that range has to be selected from either class A or class B private ranges. That's the reason they named it as private. It's like a private property. LAN is a private property of myself, and everything is public property. The WAN is public property. So, in order to build my own LAN, in order to build my private property or private network, I have to choose the IP range from either class A private range or class B private range or class C private range. Those are this you can find on this picture. If you go with class A, you have to choose 10.0.0.0 to 10.250.250.250. If you want to go with class B, this is what the range. Class C, this is what the range. Assume that I am trying to build a private range of 192.168.0.02 class C. 192.168. To where? To how much? What is the last value? Here you can see it is 255.255. 255.255. Under this, how many IP addresses you'll get? Everything. The range calculation, how many IP addresses I'll get, all this we call it as subnet
Net mask.
concept. Subnet concept. Okay. Under subnet concept, we will discuss about subnet masking. Okay. Subnet value. We'll talk about these details on tomorrow class because I don't want to mess up your mind by digging deeper on this networking much. Okay. For today, it's just we are talking about a basic concepts of networking. We spoke about the what is our agenda for today's class to discussion. I wrote the 5 points, right? This is not, yeah. We talked about what is IP address. IP address stands for Internet Protocol. This was designed by IANA organization, and the classes of IP addresses. This IP addresses entire range is divided into 5 classes, and we talked about the details LAN and WAN. Okay, and we talked about a device called gateway, and we'll see what is router and switch now. Can anyone just say me what is router?
Karthik, it's basically layer 3 device which is used for the routing of traffic.
Yes, router is a device that routes the traffic. Let me write it here. It is a device that routes the traffic. Here you may ask, okay, it is a device, very good. It routes the traffic. Then what is the traffic? What traffic it routes? Okay, the next question comes up in your mind is, hey Karthik, what's the traffic that this router routes? Okay, as I told you, you will create your LAN, right? On LAN, for creating a LAN, it is possible with the help of a device called router only. So what you need to do is, in order to make a LAN in your home or office, first you need to purchase one router. Okay, on the router you have to create a LAN. I mean, you have to log into the router and you have to create a LAN. How? By specifying the LAN range. By specifying the LAN range. So again, I am repeating. In order to create a LAN, first you need to purchase a device called router. Second, you need to log into the router and you have to specify the LAN range. Assume that I want to go with LAN range. How do you specify? Where do you select this LAN range from? These private ranges. Either you want to go with class C or class B, class C. It's up to you. Again, a question comes to your mind. Hey, what is the difference between this class A, class B, class C? Okay. If you select class C, the maximum LAN range you can create is 256 IPs. Okay. If you want your LAN range, assume that I have a office, I have only just 100 employees. Okay. Then I can go for class C range. No, I want to create a high LAN range. Then you go with class B. Under class B, you can create a maximum LAN range of 16,000 change something. Okay, that much IP addresses LAN range you can create. If you go with class A, it's like something around 64,000 or 67,000 of uh, LAN range you can create. It means that many computers you can connect under that LAN. For time being, we'll discuss a little one, that is 256. This is more than enough. Now, I want to create a small LAN. So I purchased a router. I logged into the router and I am creating a LAN with range 192.168.0.02, 192.168.1.0. Oh, sorry, 0.255. It means that this is the first IP of your range and this is the last IP of your range. The between IPs are, it's like 168.0.0. This is the first IP, right? The second IP would be 0.1, 0.2, like that. It goes till 0.255. Including 0, it means that you are having 256 IPs. Is that clear, guys? Sushma, is that clear for you? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. Guys, I just want to introduce for the class a new joinee, Sushma. Sushma, I just wanted you yourself to introduce to the class. What are you and what is your experiences and why you came up here? Just
Okay. So I'm in the industry, like IT industry for 5 years. So I'm working as a TIPCO middleware on Accenture. So I came about this AW course through Karthik, and I have a mutual friend of Harish. So he got into this course and he got a job recently. So just want to know about this AWS and DevOps. So I just want to try this. So I joined this course.
yep. Thank you. We'll help you on that, sure. And thank you, Sushma. Now, guys, discussing much further, we're trying to create a LAN, right, with the help of router. So what I'll do is I'll draw a diagram of here the router or represents the router. With the help of router, I created this LAN and this LAN ranges. This is what assume. Now, as I told you, router is a device that routes the traffic. So now the purpose of router is, so on this LAN you'll connect all the computers and the laptops and the mobile devices. Okay, all are connected to your router. All are connected to your router. All these devices are connected to your router. Now, assume that this computer 1, 2, 3. This computer 1 wants to communicate with the other computer. Now, how it communicates is, first it will send the data from the computer to your router. Now router will route that data or traffic to the destination computer 2, or whether the if computer 1 wants to communicate with computer 3, then it will send all the data to 3. This is how the router routes the traffic between the source and destination computers that are trying to communicate with each other. Okay, now again talking much about the router. A router has some principles and protocols. Router has some principles and protocols. The protocols that router follows is router always routes the traffic, okay, in shortest path and shortest time. So assume that for uh, understanding this much better, I'll draw some diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Assume that if 10 wants to communicate with 8, so one way is 10 first reaches to 7 and then it reaches to 8. It means that the data from 10 reaches to 7 and then it reaches to 8. This is one path. The other path is 10 goes to 1 and from there to 2 and then from there to 8. Or the other path is 10 goes to 6, from there 6 to 5 and there 8. Next the other path is 10 goes to 6, from 6 to 9, 9 to 4 and 4 to 8. So like there are n number of paths, but the router chooses, as I told you, shortest path, right? So which is the shortest path here? 10 to 7 and 7 to 8. So always router routes to sends the data or communicates the traffic from source to destination on the shortest path. This is the path it chooses. And the shortest time. Assume that even though the router has chosen this path, but there is a delay. Like the 7 is not working good. The 7 is something like he is very lazy. He will send the traffic very slowly. Then what your router does is it will pick the alternative path and it will route the traffic. Okay, on these two principles the router routes the traffic. That's what my intention of saying is. So router is a device that helps to route the traffic on two principles. One is shortest path and shortest time. Again, talking much about this router, you may get one doubt. uh, I draw some diagram here, right? You may ask, hey Karthik, is the router only routes the traffic within the LAN? No. Router not only routes the traffic within the LAN, router helps you to route the traffic from LAN to WAN also. Whatever the traffic, the data that you want to send, or your computer trying to communicate with the other computer in the WAN. Assume that I am sitting in my home and I am trying to communicate with my Gmail server. Where is Gmail server? It is somewhere in the LAN on Google data center. Okay, I am the guy sitting from my home and I am trying to communicate to this Gmail server. Gmail server in the WAN, I am in my LAN. Now router helps me to route the traffic also. How it helps me is, let me tell you. Okay, I'm going much. I know. I don't. I'll explain that stuff on tomorrow's class. Again, I don't want to mess up with a lot of things. Okay, we talked about the router. That's it, and we talked about the gateway. Now we'll talk about the switch. Switch. Switch is a device. Even that is also a device that helps you to route the traffic as well. So, what is the difference between the router and switch? You may ask. Assume that this is your LAN and this is your router, and these are all the different computers that are on your LAN. Okay, in LAN, it is not possible to connect all your computers to your router. Okay, it is not physically possible to connect all your computers to the router. It means that what you do, you lay out a cable. You lay out a cable and you connect the computers to the router, because the router, when you look at the diagram of or the picture of a router, this is how different router. Let me router image enterprise router. Again, router you'll have small routers long. So, and the router, this assume that this is one router. For this router, here you can see a maximum of 40-50 just holes are there. Okay, this holes we call it as RJ45 female ports. Okay, and that on that holes you'll keep this RJ45 plug. Okay, this one. Now here you can see there are only, you'll find the combination of either 4 or 8 or 16, 24 port or 48. Okay, it's double, like what is that, 48, 48, 96. Okay, 128, something like this, or 256. This is what the ports of router you can find in the market. But what if your computer, in your company you have 500 computers, 1000 computers, 2000 computers? Okay, you cannot buy that much big router, because what the alternative way you do is we use switch as a broker between your router and the computers. Assume that this is my office, and on my office I have different floors: first floor, second floor, third floor. On first floor there are some computers. What I do, I connect all these computers to switch, to a device called switch. Similarly, I'll connect all these second floor computers to, again, another switch. Third floor computers to another switch. Now, instead of connecting to my router all these computers, I'll connect these switches to my router. Now, are you getting me, guys? Now, assume that this guy is trying to communicate with the first floor guy. Okay, the other computer. Now, his request goes like, first it reaches to his switch, and then to the router, from router to the switch, and then to this guy. This is how the switches helps you to route the traffic between your router and the computer. But who is responsible for all maintaining the IP addresses and everything? The router is responsible for maintaining the IP addresses. Okay, on router only you created the LAN. Router only knows the entire LAN range. Okay, a router is the only device that provides the IP addresses when you power on the computer. So usually what happens, whenever you connect your laptop or desktop on the LAN and you power on it, as soon as you power on it, your computer will send you a broadcast message like, hey, I'm looking for IP address, can anyone provide me the IP address? Then those broadcast message will be listened by your router, and it will replay, hey, I am the router, I am the owner for this entire LAN, so what I do is I'll provide one IP address for you. Like this, router will provide one IP address for your computer. Okay, this is now, this is how router provides the IP address from the LAN range that we have configured on our router. And router will maintain a table. On this table, router will write serial number 1. I have given this particular IP address 192.168.0.0 to computer Raju. Okay. Serial number 2, I have given this IP address 192.168.0.10.2 to this particular computer names. This is how router will maintain a route table. We call it as route table. On route table, you'll have all the information which IP address is given to which computer. So this is how router only knows which computer is connected to which IP address. That's the reason if this computer wants to send information, first the information goes to router. Now routers knows because it knows where exactly that computer is and connected to which IP address. The router will send that request or data to the destination computer. Are you clear, guys, on this topic? My intention of saying this is router not only routes the traffic, it also maintains the route table.
Okay, Karthik.
Okay, good. Now, again, digging deeper, I'll tell you one more. For each and every computer, on real, router doesn't know your computer name. Router, what it stores is, now we'll talk about one computer. You'll connect the cables to the computer RJ45 female port, right? So on laptop or desktop or server, you'll have a chip on that RJ45 port. On the back end, you'll have a chip. We call that chip as uh, Ethernet chip. Ethernet chip, or we can call it as Ethernet board. The best. Yeah. Okay. This is a small piece of board that is connected to your computer, to your server. On this, you'll plug that cable. So these boards are prepared by, these boards are designed by, again, a lot of market lot. There are a lot of people who design this board and they'll sell it, right? So what you do, you purchase it and you attach to your computer. You assemble to your computer. If you now each and every Ethernet board will have a unique address. While preparing this board, they'll provide the unique address for this board or this chip. We call that unique address as MAC address. MAC. MAC address stands for Media Access. What is that? Control address. Okay, Media Access Control address. Because through this only your data is your computer is accessing the data. Okay, whatever the data it is, we call the data as media. Okay, we call the data as media. Okay, media access chip, we call this as media access controller. For each and every chip, you'll find a unique MAC address. The MAC address is something, it looks like a combination of letters and numbers. MAC address is combination of letters and numbers. This is how it looks: 3A, 3452C469. This is unique. Okay, in world, if you have this address for your computer, in world no others will computer will have this MAC address. For example, let me show my computer's MAC address. When I type cmd, I am trying to open my command prompt and I'll type a command called ipconfig. This command lists all my system's internet protocol related configuration. That's the reason he named it as ipconfig, internet protocol configurations. When I type it, here you can see for my computer there is an adapter called Ethernet adapter. Okay, now it is disconnected because I am not connected to my router via Ethernet cable. I connected to my computer via Wi-Fi. That's the reason I'll go to adapter called Wi-Fi adapter. These are all different adapters, virtual adapters. This is designed by some software in the computer. I'll tell you about that later. Here you can see Yeah, here it is. What is my Wi-Fi adapter? Here you can see wireless adapter. Through this, I have connected to my router. Now this is what. When you see, this is what the IP address that is given by my router to my computer. 192.168.1.4. Okay, and the default gateway. I told you right. The gateway is a device that separates LAN from WAN. And for my gateway, the IP address for my gateway is 192.168.1.1. That is what the gateway's IP address that is separating me or my computer from this entire WAN. Now, in my scenario, in my home, I have a router called small router. We call it as Soho router. Soho router means I have a router called TP-Link or Cisco router. This is a small routers. In this router only, you'll have all the functionals like this router is a gateway, this router is a firewall, this small device is a switch, this small device is a router, everything. It plays all the functions of this. That small device is only a all like in your homes you'll have the small routers, right? And this router is playing, is taking care of this router, is taking care of the firewall, it is acting as a gateway. Okay, everything it is acting as small devices. But when it comes to corporate offices, okay, you'll find very big routers or switches that these are different devices you'll have. Okay, now I'll talk about one Cisco NSA something 2600. This is one of the corporate office firewall device. Okay, it's Dell NSA 2600. Okay, this is how the corporate firewalls or router and gateway devices look. So when I say gateway device means it is not a separate device. Everything will be on this one device only. Okay, this device single device will act as a router. This is single device will act as a gateway. This single device will act as a firewall. Everything. Okay, on this entire device you'll have some ports configured for LAN, some ports configured for WAN. Why? I'll tell you. Let you know. This is my LAN. This is what the device, gateway, router, firewall, everything. Now I told you you'll have some ports from that some ports you'll configure LAN and some ports you'll configure WAN. WAN means ISP provider. You'll reach your ISP provider like Hey Beam or Airtel or Tata. You'll reach them and you'll say, hey, I need internet connection. So what they do, they provide a cable for you. It means that you're connected to the WAN. ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. Okay, this is how you build your LAN and you deal with things on-premises offices. Okay, when it comes to cloud, it is completely different. We'll talk about that on tomorrow. So any doubts until now? Whatever we discussed, guys, I don't want to dig much because you'll confuse. For today, this is more than enough. Any doubts for today's class?
No, Karthik.
Okay. What about others?
No, we don't have any doubts.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'll do is, thank you, Raj. What I do is, guys, I'll share some small, beautiful videos about this router switches on our WhatsApp group. Okay, you just go through that. Okay, that you'll understand much better. Okay, I'll share you some animated videos. Okay, how the router works, how the switch works, how the gateway works. Okay, and I'll share you these pictures also, the ranges and IP addresses of this IP classes on WhatsApp group. Okay, this is for today, and we'll meet up on tomorrow class. Okay, take care. Bye bye.